These are 7 things that I wish I knew as a beginner bowler. Tip number 1, the value of spares. I can't tell you how many times that I've told kids that spares are the most important thing. What do I look for in college? How can I be a good college bowler? Pick up your spares. How do I make the cut at junior gold? Pick up your spares. Literally anything always boils down to how many frames that you can fill. And you don't really understand this value until you start missing cuts by 1, 2, 3, 10 pins. That's 1 spare. I've prided myself on picking up spares for a long time, a large majority of my career, and it's a reason why I can make a living on tour, where I can still make some cuts and maybe not bowl my best. If you're not picking up spares, you better strike a lot, and that's really hard to do on a consistent basis. Shooting spares, literally the number 1 thing that I would recommend to anybody out there looking for a tip. Kind of hurts. You definitely don't want to try to make the ball hook, because usually when you're making the ball hook, you're grabbing the absolute life out of the bowling ball. You are increasing your risk of injury.
Decreasing accuracy.
There's a lot of things. Decreasing accuracy, more muscle, more inconsistency. Tip number 2, you want to let the ball hook. Let the ball do the work. Let it roll off your hand nice and easy. Balls are very dynamic nowadays, so they will hook. You just have to let them fly off your hand. Now, it's something that Anthony Shannon struggled with as a beginner, wishing that he knew not to make the ball hook. And we really don't have to make the ball hook to let it hook. We just gotta soften up our grip, let the ball roll off our hand, and in turn, that's gonna get our hand moving through the ball a lot faster, and our rev rate might actually be higher when we try less. More rev rate, cleaner off the hand, it's more consistent, stays online longer. That in turn results in more strikes usually. That segues into tip number 3. Keep your hand behind the ball. Anytime I would go to a pro-am or some kind of event where there's professional bowlers, as a kid, the biggest one they told me, keep your hand behind the ball. A lot of kids struggle with this because either you're not strong enough or you haven't developed the physical abilities to get yourself in the right position. Nowadays, a lot of two-handers automatically get their hand underneath the ball. You don't really have to worry about that unless you're getting over the top, around it, things like that. This is gonna allow the ball to read the lane much easier. Get yourself in a position that's stronger, because that's gonna let the ball fly off your hand from a strong position rather than trying to make it hook from a weak one. So you get your hand nice and under the ball, becomes way more effortless. You can create more power with less effort, as to where if your hand is on top, you can't really create a whole lot of rev rate because now you're trying to work it from here. If you get under it, you can zip it off your hand nice and fast, and that's the key to creating rev rate. Going from as far underneath the bowling ball to as far, extended with the wrist, as fast as you can, it's rev rate. That's why two-handers have so much rev rate. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is gonna be oil patterns and understanding that what you see on the piece of paper isn't as important as it seems. I'm gonna tell you right now, the most important thing that you need to pay attention to is what your ball is doing as it's traveling down the lane. That piece of paper that tells you ratios, numbers, all that stuff. You get too caught up in that, that's an absolute where you're gonna go, hey, I'm supposed to play here. And then when it doesn't work, you're gonna scramble, you're not gonna be sure what to do, and you're probably not gonna bowl very well. Trust what your eyes are telling you, trust your gut, do what you feel like you need to do to let your ball do the right thing on the lanes. So if you're at a tournament, and let's say you're bowling on a short pattern. Now, this isn't a short pattern, but this is just an example. This has actually happened before. Your ball's not even close. And you're assuming, hey, this is a short pattern, which they put out the house shot on accident one time for a tournament that was supposed to be short. My brother and I both experienced this, and rather than going, this is a short pattern, in the 10 minutes of practice we had, we took a step left this way. We went up there, threw our shots, and we went, hey, I don't think this is what's supposed to be out there. Lo and behold, a lot of people forced that spot. A lot of really good bowlers didn't know. They missed the cut. We figured out it was the house shot. We ended up bowling pretty well, and we both made the finals. Don't necessarily put too much emphasis on what's on that piece of paper. Just go out there and bowl. Let the lanes tell you what you need to do, and that'll be your guide. Tip number 5 is a personal favorite. Control what you can control. Just like talking about the patterns, whatever happens on the lanes happens. And you can control what ball you throw, what you do, all those things. I really love control what you can control because it applies to everything in life. When we play sports, bowling, very mental game, just controlling what you can control. Once you let go of the ball, you can't do anything about it. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. You control how you act though, how you react. You go up there, you throw a great shot, you stone an 8-pin, you have a choice to make. You can get upset, you can get mad, you can be over dramatic. Or you can come back, pick up your spare, move on, throw your next shot, move on with your life. There are a couple of scenarios that can happen here. You get really mad, angry. You might still be able to function, bowl well, but you're not gonna bowl as well as if you were calm, cool, and collected. Controlling what you can control has made a very big impact on my game and has been a large variable in my success. As a beginner bowler, and most, typically we're starting out as youngsters, kids. I started when I was 8 years old. I thought I knew it all. As I started getting better, ages 13 to 16, I'm hot shot, I'm big time. I really wasn't that good, but of course, every kid wants to be right all the time. No one likes to be wrong. So you're gonna do what you think you need to do, and you're gonna try to defend your honor to the death, your statement, whatever you believe in. It's not always gonna help you improve. It wasn't until probably college that I really realized that I need to be more open-minded, because if I just do what I think I need to do all the time, I'm gonna be confined to this box. This is the Darren box. And the world is so much bigger than this box. Being more open-minded has allowed me to improve a lot faster. You don't want to give that up in your developing years. As a kid, ages 12 to 18, you really pick up on things like a sponge in that period of time. So I recommend, if you're not already, be as open-minded as possible, taking the advice, taking the information, and just watch yourself soar. All right, now our final tip kind of ties in with number 6, but it's kind of a beast of its own. It's one that kind of creeps up on us and we don't really realize it. We gotta keep that ego in check. The ego is the biggest detriment in a team locker room, and it could be one of your biggest detriments as well. It goes back to that, can't be wrong, has to be right all the time, kind of overpowering teammates, the people around you. It's not an enjoyable thing. If you can't let your ego down, it's really hard to improve, kind of for the same reasons as before. You just want to stay open-minded. You can't let that ego consume you. You don't want to let it beat you, and more importantly, you don't want to let it hold you back. And that's something that I struggled with in college. I had to be the guy, I had to be right all the time, and it wasn't until that I realized that it's not the best way to go. It was really hard for me to improve. There's a reason why the best bowlers in the world use coaches and ball reps. It's because you can't do it alone. It requires the whole village, the whole zoo to create success. So keep that ego in check, because you really don't want to let that hold you back from becoming the best version of you. So those are 7 tips that I wish I knew as a beginner, but I have 3 more. If you guys want to find out, make sure you guys check out the course, link in the description below. There's a library chock full of information for you to become the best bowler that you can be. We have videos ranging from ball selections, physical game improvements, even tips from other pros. Link is in the description below. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.